Hello, this is Ian Wesselhoff, and I chose to rewrite The Little Mermaid in the style of Ovid, if The Little Mermaid was written by Ovid. Now, I chose The Little Mermaid to do this project for because I thought that it was kind of the perfect story to adapt to his style. For one, there is a metamorphosis involved to an extent, going from mermaid to human, while the upper half of her body does remain the same. I guess you could say her legs metamorphosize. Also, at some point, Triton, her dad, turns into a polyp, so that metamorphosis also occurs. It also is a fairy tale or folk tale myth, which a lot of the stories in the metamorphoses are also that. Another big thing that was reminiscent of Ovid in my mind while going through this to figure out which story I wanted to do, a Disney story, because I thought that would end up being easier. But also the concept of powerful gods, in this case Ursula, taking things away from people, or mermaids taking things away from mermaids. So Ursula takes Ariel's voice away, which I thought was pretty Ovidian. Like a lot of the stories involve things similar to that. We also see the aspect of romance with Ariel and Eric, a like longing of a person that is sort of unattainable, at least in the beginning. We see that in Ovid a lot with stories like, some of them. I'm blanking on names right now, but it doesn't matter. Now, in order to successfully replicate Ovid's style, I first wanted to very closely analyze a specific story of his, so that I could really closely just look at everything that he does. I wanted to absorb it, the sentence structure, the tense he uses, the way he uses adjectives, just general like word choice things, all of that. I wanted to dig into a specific story so that I could sort of feel that and then go directly from that into writing. I chose the story of Salmacis and Hermaphroditus. In this case, because of its similarity, being a female deity who spends a lot of time in water, and she is desperately in love with some guy, much like Ariel. Those were really the only two similarities, but I thought that fit well enough, and I figured I wanted to choose one. I didn't want to have to read the entire thing all over again just to get the writing style down. So, specifically, I was looking at the way that Ovid uses present tense while referring to something going on in the past. When he is 15 years of age, he leaves his paternal hills, deserting Ida, where he was raised, and then takes great delight wandering around in unknown regions. You see all that. Also, we see the vivid descriptions of setting. Here he comes across a pool of water so clear his eyes can see the bottom. It has no marshy reeds, barren sedge, or rushes with spiked tops. The water is transparent, but the edges of the pool have borders of fresh turf. The grass is always green. That's something that I wanted to replicate. Another thing is the way he uses adjectives. So we see he wanders around here and there on the lonely grass and dips his toes and then his feet up to the ankles in the playful pool. And captivated by the tempting coolness of the water, without delay he strips the soft clothes from his youthful body. So there's a lot of adjectives in there. Before basically any noun, there's any opportunity to use an adjective, he does. And we also see really good sensory imagery. You can sort of feel the tempting coolness of the water and the soft clothes and like the lonely grass. That's all things that make you feel like you're there. And those are all things that I wanted to replicate. Now, I was basing this off of the Disney movie, the 1989 one, not the new one, and not the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale. So there's a lot of parts of that movie that I think would not have been necessary to like turn into Ovid style. I wanted to focus on the parts of the story that felt especially Ovidian. So I wanted to put special attention on Ursula. The poor unfortunate souls thing is a super Ovidian thing, and her whole character is really like sort of Greek god-like in the sense that there's, or maybe not Greek god specifically, but like these kinds of characters where they have a lot of power and they're nefarious and willing to take things away from people. Also, the scene of Eric going overboard and Ariel saving him. The drama is something that Ovid would have really relished in. The destruction, Triton destroys Ariel's collection of human artifacts. I wanted to do that. Um, and the wedding where Ursula's in disguise marrying Eric. And of course, Triton's metamorphosis. I couldn't skip the metamorphosis part. So, with all of that, I'm going to get to the next slide and we'll start seeing the actual project. So, let's get into it. I now am drawn to tell the tale of a mermaid, her curiosity for humanity unmatched by any beneath the relentless tides of the Atlantic. She spends her days collecting utensils, artifacts dropped to the ocean floor, whichever glinting metals or unfamiliar shapes catch her fancy, with hopes to one day join the race above. But alas, she hasn't any legs. A tail like that of a fish, shimmering and sleek, lies in their place. Ariel, of hair red as blood, could not abate her love for the Prince Eric. With but one glimpse, as he stood on his boat, she felt a love unbending and incurable. His beauty pulled her mind out of the vast ocean waters and into a life on land. But it was impossible. No such mermaid has ever survived an expedition onto soil. As the mermaid dreams of a life with the prince, looming clouds spread across the great sky. With a crash of thunder, a great storm descends from the heavens. Gleaming, celebratory smiles fade as waves pummel the ship, and a bolt of lightning sets its sail ablaze. Billowing flames envelop the vessel while bodies forced overboard are strewn among the waves. Brave Ariel, spotting her love near drowning, darts to rescue his body and drags him to land, serenading him with her voice of honey and a song of a better life, a life on land. As he awakens, she departs without delay, for she cannot be caught. Triton, informed by his crustacean advisor, learns of his daughter's love for an earth-dwelling man. The great king of Atlantica, taken with rage, destroys her prized collection, and with it any evidence of the world above. And who could Ariel call upon for help? He was not a man to be easily convinced. In her weakened state, the sea witch Ursula sent 2 eels to lure the mermaid into her wicked trap. To Ariel, the witch begins to speak. If you want to become human, I shall grant you 3 days, should you accept my conditions. You must surrender your voice, that silken instrument, for the duration of your transformation. To remain a human beyond these 3 days, you must receive a kiss of true love. If you fail to find such a kiss, you shall return to your mermaid form and eternally belong to me. Red-haired Ariel accepts the offer, her burning longing for Eric and humanity triumphing over her safety. Without warning, Ariel's fish-like tail becomes legs and feet, like those she had wished for. Each toe moves freely, and she tries to exclaim her joy, but no voice comes out. She is mute. The daughter of Triton now set to pursue her earthly love, while unable to speak. He finds her on the beach, sprawled, still unused to manipulating her fresh limbs, and escorts her to his shining castle. Ariel communicates without words, seeking that true love's kiss which would ensure she retains her humanity. So nearly, the kiss does not come, for the eels of the sea witch prevent the mermaid's dream from happening. Ursula's face grew pale as the sun, upon seeing how close the mermaid came to ending the curse. At once she disguises herself as a gorgeous woman of radiant skin and earth-brown hair, and set off to take Eric as her own. With Ariel's voice still in her possession, she sings the song which the mermaid used while rescuing the prince, who now takes note of the angelic tones and melody. That voice! I have heard it once before. The only song as beautiful as this came from the woman who had rescued me. It must have been you. Quickly, the pair fall into a false love and are arranged to be married. Ariel, without words, gathers her undersea friends and prepares to stop the wedding. They arrive at the gargantuan barge, with dolphins and crabs and all sorts of sea life causing chaos and disruption. And in the midst of the pandemonium, the magic shell of Ursula cracks, freeing Ariel's voice. Eric awakens from his trance and realizes that it was Ariel, not Ursula, who had saved his life that day. They near a kiss. But at once, the sun sets on the 3rd day, transforming Ariel back into a mermaid, losing those legs she had once longed for. Ursula, too, returns to her true form. The beauty she had falsely boasted is no more, and her heavy face and tentacles like that of an octopus emerge again. With no remorse, she kidnaps the mermaid. The great King Triton could not stand to see his daughter in captivity. With his honor, he offers to trade places, revoking his rule of Atlantica in exchange for his daughter's freedom. Ursula agrees, and with a swift movement, Ariel is freed, and Triton wails, and where he once stood, a polyp now lies. Now, I chose that to be the ending. In true Ovidian fashion, this version of the story does not have a happy ending. Um, a lot of the stories in the Metamorphoses end with the metamorphosis and then move on to the next thing. And I've decided that that would be a better idea than going on to finish the actual story with like the way that it ends up all happily ever after and stuff. However, I am not Ovid, and I will not write a story taking place after this. So, with that, that is the end of the presentation.